Good morning, YouTube. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about frequency for the power builder and why it matters. So we know for hypertrophy, frequency isn't all that important. I used to believe that if you train more frequently, this is going to be something that is going to produce better muscular hypertrophy results than otherwise. However, if volume is equated, and this is a very important factor about that, if volume is equated, hypertrophy, whether you train it 1 time a week or 2 times per week, is going to be the same. But the practical applications are going to be very, very different. So, like I said, we know body part splits can work. Volume just has to be equated. The benefit to this is you hit a muscle very, very hard, but you get a whole week to recover. You get a whole 7 days to recover before you hit that muscle again. Overuse injuries will probably not occur. You will be able to really get a sore, pumped up, like just muscle full of blood feeling, and you might like that. And you're able to really just push yourself on that day. If you were to do that though, one thing you have to realize is, let's say we take the practical recommendations of proper volume. So generally speaking, depending on who you ask, you might hear numbers such as 8 to 12 sets per muscle group per week or 10 to 20. It's a lot easier to do 20 sets for a muscle group if you split it up across your week than it is in one day. Another thing that's really important to consider is that if you're watching my channel, chances are you care to some degree about strength. We are not only focused on bodybuilding, and we are not only focused on strength training. We are also focused on trying to bring the two together. So what about frequency for the strength athlete, for the power lifter, for the weightlifter? Here is something that is really important to understand. While for the bodybuilder, frequency might not be as important, for the strength training athlete, it is very important. Strength is a skill. It's not only a skill with a specific movement pattern, whether it be the squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, row, or whatever movement that you're trying to improve your strength on. It's also the ability to strain. Your ability to strain is also a skill that you need to develop over time. And skill requires frequent practice. So, when you're trying to increase the strength of movement, it really does benefit from higher frequencies because the higher frequency allows you to actually develop the neuromuscular efficiency with that movement. And like I said, strength is more than just the size of your muscle. Muscle size is a factor of strength, but it's not the only one. There's other things at play. And one of the biggest things is that neuromuscular efficiency, which really does benefit from higher frequency training. Another thing you need to keep in mind is that when you're trying to push progression on your strength movements, low rep, high set work with high intensity is very fatiguing, but it's not very friendly to accumulate a lot of volume and tonnage. Because you're doing such low reps, yes, your strength is going up, but the actual accumulation of tonnage will suffer because it's strength work. Strength work by its very nature is suboptimal for size. Yes, muscle size, muscle development, muscle hypertrophy occurs in any rep range with any amount of weight as long as you're training sufficiently close to failure. But we also know that there is a dose-response relationship with training volume and muscular hypertrophy. So that is why for a power builder, it becomes really important to have a day where higher volumes along with more technical practice is available to you. This is why frequency for a power builder is actually very useful. If you care about strength to any meaningful degree, meaning that it's something that you want to actually progress on, you need to train with higher frequencies because it benefits from that. But here's the other thing. Because strength work detracts from your ability to do a lot of high volume, and also you don't want to kind of run into issues of the interference effect, that is why it's really important that you have a volume day and an intensity day, or how I like to kind of think of it, a strength day and a size day, because you can't really divorce the concepts of volume and intensity. They have to work together with one another. Low rep work. I need to harp on this as much as I need to. Low rep work is not friendly for tonnage accumulation. That's why you have a size training day. But here's the other benefit. On that size training day, because you're lifting with lighter weights, but you are pushing the volume on it, you are getting a lot of high quality practice, but at the same time, you're building the muscle. Low rep work has a high fatigue cost. Because of that, think about if you were trying to do low frequency, but you're also trying to push heavy on a specific movement. If you push really, really heavy on the, let's say, the bench press, and then you now have, let's say you do 5 sets, then you have 15 more sets of work, everything else following that will now suffer because of you're entering that exercise more fatigued than you would be otherwise. So for example, you push really, really hard on the barbell bench press and you decide that you want to do a low frequency approach, and you now have to do dumbbell incline bench, you have to do machine press, you have to do something for your shoulders. Everything is just going to compound on one another. You're going to walk out of that session really, really fatigued. And yes, you get a whole week of recovery, and depending on your level of fitness, you might be recovered before your next session. But usually what I find is that if you really push it hard, maybe you will just be on that tail end of that recovery before you go into that session one more time. Whereas if you split it up, because you are adding that element of strength development, this is what's so important. Frequency becomes relevant when you're trying to also increase strength. You just benefit from having your workout structured in this way, because the usefulness of higher frequencies for strength will also allow you to structure your program in such a way that you are now hitting all your bases. You're able to get the amount of volume you need for size, but you're not doing it to the detriment of your strength. You're actually doing it to improve your strength because you are getting it with higher frequencies, and then you're able to go from there. Like I said, we are not just focused on bodybuilding. If you are focused on bodybuilding, you can just go on and do body part splits 1 time per week training, but you just have to really make sure that your volume would be equal to a program where you would have it split up, whether that be a push-pull leg, a upper lower, a full body, doesn't matter. So long as the volume of your body part split is equal to however you would split it up in any other way, then that's fine. One thing you should keep in mind, however, is the fact that if you do a body part split, how would you add volume? If you are already pushing volume onto one day and you're already maxing that out, so 20 sets, around 20 sets, how would you add volume from there? For one, it would be very difficult to just say, oh, let me do 21, 22, 25 sets on one day, because like after 20 sets, you're probably already burnt out. And then you would say, well, let me just do my 20 sets on this day and then maybe 10 sets on the other day. Good luck with that, because you'll probably go into that other day you have planned and notice that you're still fatigued. And now that you do those 10 more sets, when you go into your 20 set workout, it doesn't work out that much. What you could do instead is you'd have a day where it's 10 sets and 10 sets, and you add maybe 1 set on one day, 1 set on the other day, and progress from there. Or you can kind of treat it as if you were a power lifter, where powerlifters like to, let's say, go through phases where they're training at 70%, then 80%, then 90%. So you can do something where it's you do 10 sets, then you do 12 sets, then you do 15, then you go up to 20, and then you start back over at 10, kind of cycle through your volumes like that. That's some practical advice for the bodybuilder. Now for the strength training athlete, I already discussed what most traditional strength training is like, where you have constantly peaking and resetting, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's something to keep in mind. Now for the power builder, you are trying to keep your tonnage stable. Reason being is because that is key for building muscle over time. You're trying to progress in other means without having to go through that cycle of peaking and resetting. You're trying to just kind of take these step loads and then deload when necessary to reduce fatigue and then go on from there. But I'm kind of moving around to different topics. This is just all to say that if you are focused on strength, frequency is going to benefit you, not only for the technical aspect, but it's also due to the fact that when you're adding that element of strength development, trying to get all your volume in one day when you're also trying to do your strength work just is not going to work out for you in the long run for your strength goals. So that's it for this video. My name is Carlos the King, standstrength.com. Check out the website. We have tank tops, so going to be working out in this today. Looking forward to that. And thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.